Thank you all for coming out this evening. For those that don't know me, my name is Jason Brinkley. I'm the Director of Planning and Zoning. Joining me up here, we have Tamara Blake-Wallace, who is the Deputy Director of Planning, and to her right is Kat Lockwood, who is a Planner 2, and to her right is Tay Harris, who's the Long Range Planner, and then Jesse Clark was the gentleman you saw checking everybody in at the door. We also have representatives from Environmental Health here, and our awesome CMR team, which helped kind of put this together tonight. I want to start by saying, once again, thank you for showing up. As you will see when we walk through kind of the presentation we have this evening, that this is really step like 1A or 1B of a multi-step process. So we're going to present some information to you tonight, talk about a few different potential options on what may be a conversation we want to have going forward, but the main purpose of tonight is, I will say it's a community conversation. We want to hear feedback from you all, more so than you hearing a lot of information from us. And you will, we have several slides to walk through, but the value for us is hearing that feedback from the public, from you all as we walk through what will be a several months process. It's government, it takes a while, and it takes many steps of process along the way. So I'm going to go through a couple of slides and then turn it over to our team. Just as an overview of expectations for tonight and objectives, we're going to share the at least initial timeline with you all and kind of talk about next steps. We're going to talk about the concept of the master plan of town centers, which is a little bit different than what we've had before. Originally, we've had 7 town center master plans, each on their own town center. We've changed that up slightly to have chapters representing each town center. Chapter 1 will be background that's applicable to all town centers, and then each chapter following that will be for each of the town centers. We're going to explain how that fits into our entire process between comprehensive plan, then you have the master plans, then you have functional plans, and then the zoning, which is really where the rubber meets the road. We'll go through some of the analytics and some of the information on Huntingtown itself. We'll present the recent results of the survey that I'm sure some of you have been a part of, and then we'll explore different concepts of how Huntingtown may look in the future, or at least throw that out there for conversation. And then we get to the main part, which is really getting that feedback from you all on what you want to see going forward. And how you want to see the community as we develop that chapter or redevelop that chapter and update it. And I don't know how old that plan is, but it's a few decades old. It may be as old as the Reagan administration the last time it came to be. So it's a process, and it's the next, or one of the next chapters in that process. So just kind of a rough timeline of what happens after tonight. This is just some of the next steps. It's not the complete next steps, because this is a months-long process, potentially even longer than that. So we're having the meeting tonight, and then in November we'll go back to the Planning Commission to have that conversation and give feedback based off of these meetings. So this is not the only one of the town center meetings that we're having. We had St. Leonard last week, and we'll have Owings next week, and then we'll compile all that and go to the Planning Commission in November to have that discussion with the Planning Commission. And then similarly in December, we'll be having a similar meeting with the Board of County Commissioners as well. And then we'll be back to the individual town center areas to have conversations, kind of a workshop that will hopefully have some more direction than what we have tonight, because like I said, this is just the early stages of this, and then we'll go back again. So think of it as a triangle. Just keep going back and forth between the Public Planning Commission and the BOCC as we start to dial in on what the next chapter will look like, and what the next plan will look like for these town centers. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tay Harris, who's our long range planner, to kind of walk through some slides.
Hi, I am Tay Harris. I'm the long-range planner. This slide talks about the relationship between the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan, functional plans, small area plans, and our zoning ordinances. So the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan is the guiding policy document for the county. The state requires that the county update it every 10 years. The last time it was updated was in 2019. It was amended in 2022 to adjust to the proposed expansion areas for Lusby, Prince Frederick, and Solomon's Town Centers. And again, it was amended in 2025 for consistency with the Calvert County zoning ordinance update. Functional plans and small area plans are also guiding policy documents. They must be consistent with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. Functional plans typically are focusing on subjects such as water and sewer, transportation, while small area plans focus on our town centers. The requirement to update functional plans could be every 3 years, every 5 years, every 10 years. It just depends on the functional plan you're looking at. And small area plans should be updated after the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan is updated. Implementation measures for these policy documents are found in our ordinances. Our town center zoning ordinances and our Calvert County zoning ordinance set the stage for how you can use the land, develop it, and use it. All of our ordinances must be consistent with the functional plans, small area plans, and the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan.
What is a master plan of town center? Sorry. Well, in February 2025, the Planning Commission adopted a new process which condenses all the town center master plans into one single document, which is now going to be called the Master Plan of Town Centers. It eliminates redundancy across the town center master plans, and each town center will now be its own single chapter. Chapter 1 pertains to every single town center, so that eliminates the redundancy again. And chapters 1 through 3 are now in the adoption process. We are here tonight for chapter 5, which is now the Huntingtown Town Center Master Plan. Demographics. According to the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey 5-year estimate, Huntingtown's total population in 2020 is 3,029 people. In 2023 is now 2,634, which shows a decrease in population. Age composition. The highest segment is ages 45 to 64, which is 41%. And then the lowest segment is ages 65 or older, which is 17%. On the right-hand side is the census designated place for Huntingtown, which is in blue. And then in the red is the current.
It's the correct slide. She's discussed.
Okay. The big area is the census designated place for Huntingtown. The smaller one, which is red, is the existing town center master plan, which you can see that the census designated place is much larger than the town center. On the left here, we have the zoning map, which now shows that the town center is purple. In the light orange, that is the rural neighborhood district. In yellow, we have the rural community district. In the red, we have the rural commercial district. And then in the green, we have the farm and forest district. On the right-hand side, we have the sub-districts map. The light blue is the residential sub-area district. In the red, we have the open space sub-district. In the green, we have the mixed-use core sub-district. And in the light purple, we have the neighborhood district sub-area. Designated land uses. Existing land uses in numbers and percentages. Commercial, we have 7 parcels that equals 9%. We have the commercial/residential, which is 19 parcels, which equals 24%. For residential, we have 31 parcels, which is 39%. Agricultural, we have 3 parcels, which equals 4%. And we have 7 exempt properties, which equals 9%. On the right-hand side, this is the aerial map for the Huntingtown Town Center, which shows that there's 81 parcels and 304 acres.
From July 23rd to August 25th of this year, the Department of Planning and Zoning made a survey online available to the public for the Huntingtown Center. The purpose of the survey was to gather public feedback on the vision for the town center in preparation for its master plan update. Public outreach for the survey included postcards that were mailed to the Huntingtown zip code. And the county also conducted outreach through press releases, social media, the county website. And for this meeting, the county conducted outreach through press releases, social media, the county's website, and the county's mobile app. We have received feedback that the postcards were not received by all those who were intended to get them. So we are acknowledging this, and for future mailings, we are going to try to address that issue. So the survey included online, it had an aerial map of the town center and the boundary, a brief description of the town center, and 10 questions. The following 10 slides, I'm going to share the questions and the summaries of those responses. There were 389 participants who completed the survey. The first question, Okay, so there were 389 participants who completed the survey. The first question for the survey is, how long have you lived in Huntingtown? Approximately 7% of the respondents did not live in Huntingtown. 10% lived in the area for less than 5 years, 35% between 5 and 19 years, 22% between 20 and 29 years, and 27% for 30 years or more. The second question is, what is your age group? Less than 1% were under the age of 20. 5% were between the ages of 20 and 29. 18% were between the ages of 30 and 39, as well as between the ages of 40 and 49 individually. 21% were between the ages of 50 and 59, and 37% were over the age of 60. The next question is, what are your main draws to the Huntingtown Center? Respondents said that they were drawn to the town center for basic services and shopping and dining. Specifically called out was the post office, Bones Grocery, Hatcher's, the gas station, and the fire department. In general, participants or respondents enjoyed the convenience shopping and the small shops in the town center. The sense of community and the rural character were also named as draws. The sense of community came from churches, schools, the medical offices, the child care, and recreation, specifically the dance studio. Rural character cited was it's quiet, it's safe, there's a small town feel, there's open space with farmland, and the preference is to keep Huntingtown rural and distinct from Dunkirk and Prince Frederick. The next question is, what do you believe the biggest challenges for the town center? Respondents said that Route 24 has a lot of congestion, there's unsafe intersections, and there's a lack of sidewalks and trails. There's also an opposition to growth, a desire to keep the town center rural, and there is a fear for it becoming another Prince Frederick or Waldorf. And in the same vein, respondents felt that there was community division on whether the town center should be remaining as a town center or should it be designated a rural commercial district. Respondents also cited that there are empty buildings and that there is difficulty in attracting businesses and small-scale shops to the town center, as well as a lack of support for trails, parks, and gathering spaces. The next question was, in one word, what do you love about the town center? So again, it's the theme of the small rural character of the area. It's peaceful, neighborly, family-oriented. There's a historic feel. There's the country atmosphere. There's the family-owned shops. There's the convenience, low crime and traffic, minimal development, farmland, and the natural resource lands of wooded areas and green open spaces. Okay. The next question is, what do you believe in the biggest change you have seen in the town center in the last 10 years? Heavier volume in traffic, speeding, and more accidents. There was a major noted community shift when Bowens was sold. There's new development in terms of housing growth along Dismody Drive and Cox Road, and the construction of the medical building and the fire department upgrades. Respondents also indicated they have seen many turnovers in the years. For example, the antique store, the barber shop, Chelsea's Pizza, and the bank converting to a church. The next question is, what are the 3 most important topics to be addressed in the Huntingtown Center Master Plan update? Respondents indicated it's land use, environment and natural resources, and parks and recreation. And then what is one key element of the town center that you would like to see retained or enhanced? Respondents said they would like to see the following aspects retained: the open space, heritage and historic character, the small shops and farmer markets, no big box development, the small housing inventory, the fire department, and the post office. The elements to be enhanced include traffic flow, sidewalks, bike and pedestrian safety, dining opportunities, parks and green space, playgrounds, and community events. When asked, do you think Huntingtown should remain a designated town center, zoning district, or a designated rural commercial district? 39 of the respondents indicated they would like to see the area remain a town center, while 61 of the respondents indicated that they would like to see it designated as a rural commercial district. Now, bear with me because the next slide, you can move it forward, is we're going to discuss the 4 different options that we're entertaining. In the survey online, we did go into specifics on defining town centers and rural commercial district, but we'll get into that as we progress through these next few slides. So the first option is retain it as a town center. The second option is distinguishing between major and minor town centers. The third option is to convert the town center to a rural commercial district and a residential zoning district. And then the fourth option would be creating a new district. It's a small town center style district, such as a community use district or a village district. So in this slide, I think that's the one I want. Pardon, technical difficulties. So in this slide, we are looking at major and minor town centers and the differences. If you look at the font in red, that will emphasize the differences between minor and major town centers, while the black font will indicate the similarities. So in major town centers, you'll see single and multi-level non-residential uses, which are commercial uses, institutional uses, industrial uses. You'll also see single-family townhomes and multifamily units. You'll see water systems, wastewater systems, indoor recreational facilities, and cultural facilities. In the minor town centers, you'll see mostly single-story commercial uses, institutional uses, or industrial uses, and only single-family or townhomes. You'll also see water systems or wells, wastewater systems or septic systems, neighborhood community centers, and neighborhood cultural facilities. The similarities are roads, public transportation, trails, sidewalks, and paths or town squares. Okay, on this slide, we're going to discuss the town center versus the rural commercial district. In town centers, you'll have multiple types of uses: commercial, office, residential, public, quasi-public, and this is all concentrated to promote economic development in that one centralized area. It's also to prevent strip commercial development, and this type of development pattern is to reduce traffic congestion with the intent to reduce traffic congestion with pedestrian and bicycle-friendly amenities. It also promotes a range of housing opportunities with convenience to access to goods and services. The difference here for the rural commercial district is businesses are located outside of town centers and are usually along country roads. You'll have access to small stores and local shops that have operated for decades. And goods and services are provided to residents in rural areas without long drives into town. And the regulations for the rural commercial district are designated to keep businesses small, low-key, and neighborhood in nature, and consistent with the rural character of the area. Okay, on the next few slides, on this slide, we're going to show permitted uses, and this goes to the table that's one of your handouts. It's a permitted uses table for rural commercial district versus the town center. This slide just gives you a highlight of the permitted uses that are allowed in both the town center and the rural commercial district. So I'll give you a few minutes to read it. I'm going to read over the larger categories. If anyone wants me to read through all of it, I can. Just let me know. But we have agricultural uses, residential uses, retail uses, businesses and services, recreation, motor vehicle services, light industrial, institutional, and temporary and accessory uses. Okay. And this next slide that we're going to look at highlights the differences. So we have on the left permitted uses that are allowed in the town center only, and then on the right, permitted uses that are permitted in the rural commercial district only. Well, I'll summarize. So on the left, we have agricultural or specialized agricultural between the two. We have residential that are differences, commercial services in town centers versus animal services in the rural commercial district. We have recreational uses in the town center, vehicle uses in the rural commercial district, wholesale in the town center, and institutional versus livestock and waterfront that are in the rural commercial district. And then on this page, you will see where you can find the status and you can provide public input on the master plan update process. You can go to our Master Town of Town Centers webpage through this link, or you can simply Google Huntingtown Town Center Master Plan Update. On this webpage, there's a Notify Me button. If you hit this Notify Me button, every time there's an update on this webpage, you will receive an email notification. You can also keep up with the Town Center Master Plan as well as others through our quarterly newsletter called The Planning Perspective, as well as download the Calvert County mobile app. And then this email, Town Center Update at calvertcountymd.gov, which has been around for a long time, continues to be the email for residents to use to give public input directly to planning and zoning. Does anyone have any questions?
So we're bringing out the mic right now, so that way.
Yeah.
Sir, do you mind if coming up to the mic? I mean, we can bring it to you if you would like.
Yeah, it's fine.
And sir, can you please state your name?
Sure.
Thank you.
Michael Bresnahan. I looked at your list of things that won't be allowed in Huntingtown with your rural commercial. You realize you're eliminating several businesses that are already operational here? The other interesting part is, as far as I'm aware, you never consulted any of the commercial owners in Huntingtown. I've been in Huntingtown operating a business over 30 years. And there's several families here that have been operating just as long as I have. If you look on your sheet, the one you presented to us up there and what this sheet says is two different things. Automotive sales, there's 2 dealerships in Huntingtown already that would have to not be allowed. Boat dealer, boat detailer, there's one in Huntingtown already. Self-storage, several. So this is going to create a problem before we get started because this was not presented like this is. If you read through it and look, there's a lot of things that aren't permitted. So changing to a rural commercial would be detrimental to several of the businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And just so we're clear, we're not advocating the change. We're simply asking the question. So that feedback is exactly what we need to hear.
By not coming to the commercial businesses to see what's here. I mean, I can remember Route 4 in front of my building. So that was 61 years ago.
Thank you, sir. And don't be shy, just when it's free.
Tara Murphy, I have a follow-up. Would the businesses that already exist be grandfathered in?
I think the plan would be to not create a bunch of non-conforming uses. So the challenge with calling it rural commercial versus town center at this point in time, the challenge is that we would likely need to change the definition of rural commercial or change the uses permitted in rural commercial if that was the direction that the Planning Commission and the BOCC wanted to go.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle Belt. For the town center uses, there are a lot of uses that aren't here already. Where would the proposed places go if we open it up to that town center master plan? If I'm looking at the other map that shows open space that's not already designated, they are thin strips of land. Are we proposing that a theater go into one of those strips? Is that the idea? Or will there be another transformation of what's in this Huntingtown town area?
Tonight we're trying to get the feedback of what you want. So it all depends on how our community conversation goes. Do we want to keep it this? Do you all want to keep it the same? Do we want a transformation? When I say we, we're representing you all. That's what we're here for. So it just depends on what everyone's vision is for the town center.
I just think they're two very different perspectives. And then to say, like, I'll make a decision, let's say I want to keep it a town center, right? And then I say, well, wait, if the proposed area that the town center can expand in are those little strips that might be right in front of my house, then I don't want, I mean, if we're being honest, then I don't want it to be designated that town center. But if the rural commercial also changes what I need based on what's already here in Huntingtown, I think then I would probably change my perspective. The challenge that I see is, because this is our first meeting, there are a lot of questions that we can't have the answer to. So I get that we have 3 or 4 meetings, But I also look at these maps going, well, where are you going to put this town center and anything new additional? Or what's going to happen to everything here that I already use? So there's a lot I can't say whether I would want or not.
So the town center is existing right now with those boundaries. So we're not looking to expand or change the boundaries. And as Jason said, we're not looking to create a non-conforming uses.
Also, you also have to keep in mind that some of these uses that were named in that handout may already be uses that are permitted within the town center. They just haven't developed here. So a lot of these things that you're seeing that are in your town center now, of course, that are existing, but you also have to think of the future as far as redevelopment is concerned.
Right, but I guess mine is on this map here, and I look at these pink areas. That's, I think, my question, is are those the areas that would be then redeveloped?
Those are the open space areas.
Right, that are
Right.
currently undeveloped, that would be where a new business coming in, if this area is not redeveloped, those would be the locations where they could possibly go.
They could, but if the vision remains by the community that they remain open spaces, then that's not where they
Then
would
we
go.
would have no space, then nothing else new would come in unless this area is redeveloped. Right?
Yeah, the core, when you're talking about along Old Town Road, right?
Right, I mean, that's how we envision it.
Yes.
So, right, like for me, open space is important, and then this area too, but I don't want a movie theater. So, I might be being asked to answer something that I don't have all the information on, which is normal because that's what these meetings are for.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to bring up, is that concern is exactly what these meetings are for, because this is a complex, multi-layer process, and even though we may be having the rural commercial town center major minor discussion right now, the devil's in the details. So the devil's in the zoning ordinance itself is where a lot of that is going to be held. So it's a multi-level process, but the concerns that we're hearing is exactly what needs to be feathered out as we work through this process.
I want to ask you a question. I just want to clarify, are you looking to see additional uses along Old Town Road or redevelopment?
No, actually not, but
Okay.
what I don't want is for those open spaces, if we designate something as this major town center, to be then used as a roller rink, which is dating me, but a movie theater, whatever, right? That would be my concern. We have the development here now, but I'm seeing any new development would be available to go in those pink spots. That's my concern.
I think you need to do a little bit more explanation for people who don't understand the town center. The commercial end of the town center goes how far out? It's not that whole purple area.
Okay, so the purple area is just the town center zoning district.
Correct.
The green area on the left-hand side of the map, that's where your commercial core is.
That's all that's allowed is in that green area, correct?
Right, and then the light purple,
Blue area, you're not allowed to put commercial. That's what I think some of these people don't understand because it wasn't explained to them.
okay, so that's the residential district, and that's where you envision, this is what the current town center master plan says, that you can have 1/3 to 1 acre size residential lots there in the light blue. And then the purple is mixed use. I'm sorry, it's neighborhood district.
So is the left map what's proposed? I'm confused there.
Okay. So the left map is our current zoning map, okay? And then the right map is within the town center. So the purple is the town center zone. Within the town center, you have small sub areas broken out. And that's the map on the right.
And just for clarification, this is not what's proposed or not proposed. This is reality today. So both maps are reality today.
But commercial cannot go past the green area. That's what
Correct, sir.
you need to understand.
That's correct.
You're not explaining it well because I'm looking at it when I was here for day one of the master plan. So the green is restricted to commercial. I can't go to the blue area and go put a garage in. And that's what you need to let people know. That you're not expanding the town center. The town center's already there, but the commercial end of it is only in the green area, which is already active. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, we're here to get your vision. Do you want it to remain the same? Do you want it to be a town center? Do you want it designated something else? Would you like to see it a minor town center versus a major? And if this is confusing, ask questions so we can clear it up. Please.
So again, Tara Murphy. I grew up here, moved away, came back, and I'm raising my family here. I like what's here and I like what the businesses are, but I am of the mindset that I don't want it to be the Prince Frederick or Dunkirk. So how do you fit that into, so I was voting rural community, but now that I understand that the current businesses would have to go, how can we work that in with major minor? Can you explain, does major and minor town center help with that where it doesn't grow out of control, but we can still keep who's here?
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Let me get to this. I'm going the wrong way.
And as she's doing that, so prior to the current comprehensive plan, which was originally adopted in 2019, there was a designation difference between major and minor. That went away in 2019, and everything just became town center. So that, I think that's where a lot of fear is that there's not a clear difference in title between a Prince Frederick and a Huntingtown. But if you had a major minor, you would have that.
So if you look at the red text, minor town centers, if you think about it this way, you're going to have a neighborhood draw, right? For Huntingtown, you have a neighborhood draw. Not everyone don't come from all over the county to go to Huntingtown unless they want to go to Bones or something. But or regionally. So if you think of Dunkirk or Prince Frederick or even Solomon's, people come from all over the place to go to these town centers. And when you think of Huntingtown, it's more of a neighborhood draw. So you have small stores, small scale shops, and you don't want dense housing development. You want to keep the rural character. So this would be a minor town center. Does that clarify?
We want it to stay the same.
Yeah.
With the business that we have and the residential that we have.
Can you go back to the screen that showed the two maps, please?
Can you please state your name?
Gene Farrell.
Thank you.
All right. There we go. Okay, so let's say we went rural district, what color would the green turn to on that map?
It would likely turn to a color that's not on there, but something similar to a rural neighborhood district. It would actually be an RD district, which would be just a residential district title, but it would not be rural commercial or town center.
Okay. So, and as I understand it, the green, it's commercial. This is on the right. Basically along Huntingtown Road and along Old Town Road here, small businesses, it can be developed commercially. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I mean, I was down in Mount Airy where Andy Griffith grew up, and I visited. I just love that type of atmosphere. I mean, me personally, I could see that small different things. I'm not sure how it would work out, but I know right behind the firehouse there's a big piece of property, and Dumfries Fire Department developed something similar like that into like a recreational area, a park. It had pavilions, it had playgrounds, it had trails. So that's kind of something I would like to see possibly somehow if it could fit in there, just as a vision, where the community could come together for maybe some small events or things like that, just throwing it out there. Thank you.
I'm Myra Gowans, and I'm asking on behalf of Calvert Citizens United, and thank you for all the addendums that you gave us because they do help. I see here on that map it says proposed road, and it's in yellow, but I don't see it on this. Is that the roundabout back in there on the green and the purple? Okay. That's probably me. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be able to touch it. Do you see the thin yellow line, like at the bottom, underneath the green and the purple?
Yeah. All right. That looks white on here, but yeah, I can see that now because it's larger. So where is that going to be behind? Okay, you've come off Route 4, and you're coming into the little hub of the town. Why is that road going to be there? What's going to happen?
So this is the vision that was created in 1993. So I would have to go back and read through notes, but in the master plan itself, it does not really explain that. You know, in some of the master plans, they talk about adding road segments to create a grid-like pattern. But this, I did not find that in this plan.
Okay.
So if this is something that the community feels needs to be revisited, we can during this update.
Right. Well, I've been in the county for over 50 years, and you know, you always come down to Huntingtown, to Bowens. Everybody talks about everything, and I honestly and truthfully, I never knew there was something in the '93 plan. That's when Senator Fowler was still in the county, and I just didn't. I mean, I've never heard of it, so that's why I'm questioning. Okay, so do you all want to?
You know what we can do is we can address this through FAQs.
Okay.
Frequently asked questions.
Right,
And
okay.
we'll look into the road, and if we
Okay.
don't have a good answer, we'll let you know we don't have a good answer, and it's something we can revisit.
Okay,
during the
that's
master plan
great.
update.
That's great. I just wanted to check on it. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Scott Deacon, and it appears to me from what you've described that our rural designation would protect us from high-density housing. If you consider where that's occurred in the county, I would suggest you talk to Sheriff Cox and see when you created those entities in larger cities or larger areas, town centers like Prince Frederick and Lusby, crime has increased. And that is a definite concern to myself as well as other citizens. I do have one other question. How many surveys did you happen to send out total? Anybody know?
I cannot recall off the top of my head how many postcards we sent
Right.
out, but that's something we can answer in frequently asked questions as well. We did use the Postal Service. It was EOM. They would deliver to every, I guess, address on their stop along.
Yeah, it hits every mailbox, but not necessarily. If somebody owns property but doesn't have a mailbox, they didn't.
The reason I was asking, somebody showed me one of their cards and it says resident, and I don't know about you. If it says resident, I'm not going to pay attention to it because that's junk mail.
No.
If you want me to look at something, my name has to be on it.
Yeah. And that's good feedback. We did it through basically their
Nope,
mass mailer system.
I'm not complaining. I'm just making a statement.
that's
When
it.
I saw it,
Good
it said
observation,
resident. Thank you.
Thank you.
You heard the feedback that not everyone got the survey?
We have.
Okay.
We're aware of it.
Okay.
Other thoughts,
Just to
please?
piggyback on some of these, The designations that you have set, the major town centers, minor town centers, and then rural commercial, are they set in how you define them? Meaning for the minor town centers, you allow for townhomes. So clustered type housing, right? And is there a way to create a minor town center with another vision than having townhomes? Or if we do minor town centers, do they come with the townhomes?
So minor town centers is not a designation that currently exists in today's, because
Okay.
it went away in 2019.
Okay.
If it came back, it
We
would be amendable to whatever
Okay,
the
so
situation.
we could take certain, I'm
Absolutely.
going by the language that you used on the papers, but that can be adjusted.
And that's pulling from previous designations.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's not set in stone.
Okay.
It is adjustable.
Okay.
So in other words, some of these businesses that are here now, if we would change, they would all be allowed. So business would not be allowed to be a business of that type.
No, sir.
Okay, so like, his auto business is not listed in the other switch. But if we decided we wanted to switch that, and he sold it, nobody else could open it up and back up.
So if it's not allowed in if it's not allowed in rural commercial, that would be something we would have to look at the definition of rural commercial and could make those adjustments. Yes. Yeah.
We could say, no, we want this.
You could make, correct.
It's not like we got a small building.
That's correct. Correct, sir.
A lot of concerns you have with the multi-housing and apartments and that, in order to have that, you have to have sewer and water.
That's correct.
Would never happen in the next 50 years to start.
That's an accurate statement.
If I could just inquire one other thing. When you look over here, Huntingtown Town Zoning Center zoning map, okay, you're coming down Solomon's Island Road, which is Route 4, and right there on the map there's a little pink area that you filled in. And then you've going down that, is that Cox Road going down there, or, I mean, what does that pink show you?
That's Cox Road and Farm Valley.
And what, dear?
That's what that is.
Okay, so you're showing that. Let me ask you, what does that pink show you? What does that indicate?
On the left-hand side?
No, on the right-hand side over here.
Oh, that's rural, that is a rural commercial. And so rural commercial districts were originally designated as, if commercial uses were outside of town centers, when town centers were created in 1983, 1984, that commercial use was designated a rural commercial use.
Right.
So that is not in the town center, but that has been existing for decades.
Yes, I know.
So that's what that is.
Well, let me ask you this, and I don't want to bring up something and have everybody get upset, but that's where Kelly McConkey proposed to put his gas station there and Royal Farm. And he bought a piece of property which was rural commercial, and that was you couldn't put a Royal Farm on there with the pumps and everything. Is that, I mean, or is he going to come back? Is it possible for him to, or for a new owner of that property to go back in and try to rezone that?
So the easy answer is no. The complicated answer is anybody can request anything, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So
I
it has to go through the
understand
proper-
that. I'm with you,
But
and
that
I
is
understand.
not currently set to be in a town center, and if this remains a town center, it would,
It will be restricted,
correct.
correct? I mean,
If-
not able to be
it-
built.
It would not be able to do it because if
Okay.
you still have a town center designation, whether that's a major, minor, or just simply town center,
Okay.
and there's no difference. If it's a rural commercial district, that gets a little more complicated.
Yeah, well, we don't need that. I mean,
So-
in my mind, we fought 5 years to keep that, you know, and go to court and everything with that, with the Supreme Court of Maryland. So I don't want to have to pay for that again. You know?
Understood.
Or we don't. I'm sorry, we don't. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm June Fisher. I've lived here for 36 years. So I want to know, how do we make our voice heard that we do not want any changes? I don't want a Prince Frederick. I don't want a Dunkirk. That's why I moved to Huntingtown 36 years ago. Raised my kids, my granddaughters. So I wanted to stay. But how are y'all going to communicate to everyone in Huntingtown, since we never got a postcard?
So moving forward, we're trying to figure out ways that we can communicate through social media like Facebook. We do encourage everybody to, can you go to the last slide, please? To visit these websites, to sign up for notifications, to download the app. Now, I'm not sure if everyone does all that, but we do encourage, we're doing our part to use our resources the best we can. Doing those mailings is very expensive, and while we would love to do mailings and do it the right way and not just put resident on the mailing address, we're doing the best we can with our resources. So we're asking if we blanket social media, put it on our websites, put it in our planning perspective newsletter, et cetera, that people who frequent social media and the web and do all that and help spread the word. You know, we're also going to go ahead and reach out to 2 civic associations on Facebook, and you will also get notifications if you sign up for the notification button. So we're asking for a joint relationship on here on spreading the word. If we post it and get it out there, for those of you that are interested, and then also if you have means to spread the word, please do.
And just to piggyback on that, the more public feedback we have, the better these plans become. And if you don't have this in your handout, take a screenshot of it or take a picture of it and text it to your friends, text it to people that you know, because email that bottom email address your thoughts, your concerns, your questions, because that's really the best way to get that information to us, and then we turn around and we share that with the Planning Commission and the BOCC. So, and that's documented, it's there. You're not just telling us in passing, but you're literally writing it down and letting us know your feelings and your thoughts, your concerns, what you like, what you don't like, because that feedback helps generate better outcomes at the end.
Scott Deacon again. I don't know if you have access or a way to determine HOAs that are in the county and that have websites, or ways to contact them. I would suggest using that as another way, because that would have gotten to us and I'd actually read that if I'd have seen it. So in any case, that's just a suggestion. Thank you.
And also, the survey did give us a lot of information. I mean, if you read through just the slides, and if you go to the master plan update webpage for Huntingtown, we have a more detailed response for the surveys. And if you're interested in even more detailed responses, you can contact this email address up here, and I can share it with you. But we did get a lot of feedback that overwhelmingly the community who participated wants the town center to remain rural. So we have heard that message loud and clear through this first initial outreach.
Laurel Ann Renault. I think the designation that you've used as rural commercial center is a little daunting. And I think when you hear commercial center, it's like, whoa, you know, it's not what we want. I think that's what everybody in this room would agree to. So I don't want to come down the road and see, instead of Huntingtown Town Center, Huntingtown Rural Commercial District, you know, even though maybe that's what everybody votes for. But if you were saying that if we were this rural commercial district, we could more likely get a big rural farms gas station where that nursery was, that's more likely than if we were a minor town center? Is that correct?
So it's complicated, but potentially, because a rural commercial district doesn't now allow for a gas station. And if you got into grandfathering uses, you would have to somehow draw a line between allowing one gas station in a rural commercial district but not allowing another, which gets complicated. How do you justify doing that? So that's where rural commercial starts opening the door to those questions. As opposed to a town center, minor or major, you have the map that is your boundary.
Right. Thank you.
Otis Walker. I'm probably just sharing my ignorance here, but lady spoke about how we get informed about what's going on and understand it. I went to the last public meeting before the comprehensive plan vote a few years back. Almost unanimously, an overflow crowd spoke against the plan. A week later, 3 of the 5 commissioners voted for it. One of the commissioners is still there, and he seems to be, along with Grasso, now opposing development, which is what I want, the townhouses and things. I don't find the newspapers very helpful. There are a few Facebook groups, Concerned Citizens. I think there's one, Keep Calvert Country. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
And I know some people may not want to get up in front of everybody to speak. We're going to be here for a little while afterwards. If you've got questions that you want to have one-on-ones with, we also have our information up there. You can call me, call anybody up here to have those conversations, or send us an email. Yes, sir.
Yeah, one other thought I wanted to say is somehow we need to find out about our commissioners and who we want to vote for. The party I usually vote for is in charge right now, but I understand 3 of them recently voted for more development in Southern County, down around Lusby. So I don't think that's what people here vote for. I think a lot of people are uninformed, maybe more than me. I don't know. But.
Thank you. Anybody else? I don't want to deny you opportunity to speak, but like I said, we'll be around to talk one-on-one. If you want to talk this evening, if you've got questions, I'm going to leave my business card up here at the front. Now, I've got my cell phone on here. Your tax dollars pay for it, so you can call me. I may not always answer on the weekends, but that's usually the easiest way to get in touch with me. You can easily get in touch with me that way. And then if you feel free to email one of us or call one of us. But thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and concerns with us. Once again, this is a 1A or 1B of a long process, so there will be plenty of other opportunities for input along the way. Thank you.